If you haven't heard by now, which I'll be surprised if you haven't, Insomniac has been going through a really tough time lately. Funny enough, I've tried making this video a few times. Each time in doing so, there has been more info to leak from Insomniac, or the situation gets an update, and not for the better. This time, the people behind the ransomware attack did in fact do what they said they would do if they did not receive their payout that they have been requesting. $2 million. I assumed Insomniac or Sony would not meet their demands, and the result was them leaking over a terabyte of data to the public. In this video, I will be discussing just that. The leaks, a video game schedule from Insomniac, discussing what was shown in the leaks, how Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart was deemed a financial loss, and much more. There's a ton of exciting stuff to be talked about, so be sure to stick around for everything in this video. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with gaming news, gaming reviews, and more. Now that we've gotten all of that out of the way, let's begin talking about the leak situation. Insomniac was given a heads up by the people behind the ransomware attack that they would leak this if they didn't meet their demands, and last night they finally did it. The worst part about this entire situation was the fact that these documents include a ton of information about their employees. Now, I haven't read through even a fraction of the leaked documents, and I'm not even sure where to find all of them exactly, but I've read that a lot of what was leaked is sensitive and private information for these employees. This isn't a leak that was like the recent GTA 6 teaser trailer, because people's lives were not affected by that leak. If it was more in the lines of the GTA 6 or the Bethesda leak earlier this year, it wouldn't be as bad. This is probably something Insomniac will be dealing with for quite some time, and one of the reasons I'm sure that the New Game Plus and other gameplay features were delayed to next year for Spider-Man 2, since this, understandingly so, is more of a priority for Insomniac. I don't blame them, and I completely understand why they're focusing on this, and they really need to get this situation under control immediately. I won't be showing images or videos regarding what was leaked, but I will explain them as best as I can for anyone that hasn't seen them. So let's just get right into that and start discussing what was leaked, starting with the release window for their video games. The schedule starts off with Spider-Man 2, but the next one is what surprised me, to be honest. Insomniac has been working on a video game spin-off where he is labeled the Lethal Protector like his comic runs. I'm sure the size and scope of this game will be more on par with the Miles Morales spin-off game. The leak also determined that you'll be able to play as Venom and a couple of Spider characters, assuming it's Peter and Miles. I had assumed this would be more of a DLC pack for Spider-Man 2, but in the leaks, it is claimed to be a standalone video game, so I'm curious on how they're going to tie everything together, but I'm sure we'll know more of that later on. I would also assume that you'll only be able to switch between them during free roam, but be forced to play as Venom during his story if you're able to switch between the Spider characters like what was mentioned in the leaks, but I could be wrong. The thing that does make me a little sad is that the story will be focused around Carnage. I'd say he's trying to do the same thing that Venom attempted by trying to spread the symbiotes throughout the world, but for some reason Venom has had a change of heart and attempts to stop Carnage. That's what I've determined from the leaked information anyway. The reason why I am sad is because I was hoping that Carnage would have a bigger focus in Spider-Man 3, but I do understand if they think it will be too cluttered with how many villains they plan on using in Spider-Man 3 already, so this is some exciting news and something that will hold us over for their future games. Oh, and the Venom game is set to release near the end of 2025. The next game on this schedule is Wolverine, of course. This was the game that had a ton of stuff leaked from what I've seen. There were all kinds of alpha footage where they were testing gameplay features, mechanics, and a lot of animations. One of the videos I watched showed Wolverine scale a building with his claws and enter through a window. He has tracking mechanics using his ability to smell, which gives him a glimpse of what happened in the area. Of course, if you read the comics or have watched the movies, this ability is no surprise. In the same video, it seems Logan lost his memory after a fight he had with Mystique and appears to be looking for her, hence the tracking. He searches through the building, then the gameplay stops, and it's like a concept stop motion where you see Logan find an iteration of his classic suit. There were a lot more videos shown testing out a motorcycle, but there was pedaling, assuming they were just reusing assets and the animations from Spider-Man 2 as placeholders before they actually work on the animations specifically for the game. And a side note, there could be some traversal mechanics with that motorcycle, unless it's just used for like a specific mission, but I'm interested to know more. There was a section of the main menu that determined we will be able to play as Jean Grey as well, which really shocks me, to be honest, and for anyone that doesn't know, she's just tied in with the X-Men. There were also hints of Sabretooth being in the video game, and there were a lot of great snippets of concept art showing Sabretooth, as well as Wolverine in a lot of his classic suits. I did see some videos of combat, and from what I can tell, it's going to be a more mature game, without a doubt, unless Insomniac, for whatever reason, decides to tone it down, but I don't think so. There was a video of Logan crouching, so I'm sure it's a safe assumption to say that there will be stealth in some capacity in this game, but there wasn't any surprised there. I assumed stealth would be in it in some way. The schedule says that Wolverine will release near the end of 2026. The next game on the list is Spider-Man 3, releasing in 2028. This isn't much of a surprise. We all knew that Spider-Man 3 would come out eventually, and this appeared to be the same kind of wait that we had between the first and second Spider-Man games, but this time we're getting 2 games in between the second and third Spider-Man games. We'll have the Venom standalone spin-off game and the Wolverine game to hold us at bay until then. I wasn't able to find any information regarding Spider-Man 3 in the leaks that I've seen, but there might be some out there, but I didn't see any. There's a chance there might be some concept art out there at least, but I wouldn't really expect too much if there is. So moving on to the next game on their schedule, we have Ratchet & Clank, set to release in 2029, 1 year later after Spider-Man 3. I'm actually excited for this game. I think working on multiple franchises instead of one for a development studio is a good thing. I would think it helps reduce burnout since you're keeping your game cycle rotating, but I'm not going to pretend I know anything about game development, just my perspective on that. The interesting part surrounding Ratchet & Clank was that Rift Apart, the last release of the series, actually lost money. The budget was around $81 million and it lost $8 to $9 million. That's kind of surprising that it lost money. I thought it was a fun game and it was really different, but it also released in a time when a PS5 was really hard to get. I'm not sure if that really had anything to do with it or if it was just one of those things that didn't really appeal to a lot of people. They did have some concept art for this game. It continues to stay true to the art style and I'm more anxious and curious to learn more about it. This is another game that just absolutely had me shocked. X-Men, set to release in 2030. It is in fact a long way away. There was speculation that the Wolverine game could set up an X-Men game, but that's all it was, speculation. Now it's confirmed and there was a document where Sony and Marvel agreed to let it be exclusive until 2035 with some lingering conditions where they had to sell at least 6 million copies in total for all of the X-Men games being released. This just means they're probably testing the water to see how it sells, but X-Men sells itself with the name. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think they'll have any issue whatsoever. There isn't anything in the leaks that I could find about this game, considering it's probably just a title and some legal documentation. Also considering it's literally 7 years away. It will be a long wait, but I think it will be worth it 100%. Now for the last part of the schedule, they have an untitled new IP set to release in either 2031 or 2032. Literally have no idea what it could be, and from the looks of it, it could be all original. That's just my thoughts on that, but that's it for the release window that Insomniac has. It does suck that their hard work has been leaked and they won't be able to announce these games themselves. Once it's out on the internet and to the public, it will spread like wildfire. I also need to add just one more thing though. A while back, it was rumored that Insomniac was working on an untitled multiplayer game as well. The leaks don't show it on the schedule. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or bad thing, but the leaks prove that it is an open world AAA Spider-Man game. And yes, it is multiplayer. This could tie into the leak at the end of last week where they were reportedly working on a Spider-Verse video game with multiplayer components. And a multiplayer Spider-Verse game really makes sense for that type of video game and theme. My only concern with this game is that I hope it doesn't fall into development hell similar to what The Last of Us Factions did, which was recently canceled by Sony. For whoever watching didn't know that. Now that could be why it wasn't on the schedule, or perhaps they haven't squeezed it in yet. Who knows? What I do know is that the plate is definitely full for Insomniac games. I can't even fathom how they're able to keep releasing games at the speed and quality that they do. This does, however, affect the length of their video games, but they're still solid releases after the fact. There's no denying that. There was a ton more leaked from this ransomware attack, especially on the Wolverine game. The entire plot was also leaked, so if you're wanting that to be a surprise, like myself, watch out for people posting spoilers. If it's anything on par with the writing from their Spider-Man games, I'm sure it'll be a great story and something you'll probably want to save for yourself. Also, I mentioned this in one of my GTA videos when people were complaining about these leaks. They said the graphics looked terrible. This will more than likely be the same way. The leaked gameplay shown for Wolverine is early gameplay, more than likely early stages of alpha. The game is nowhere near finished, so keep that in mind if you see the leaks. There was also something odd about Spider-Man's 3 release too that I want to mention. From what I could tell, it looks like they're trying to release the game into 2 parts. I don't really know for sure, as the leak indicates just that, and of course we also don't have an official statement. If they did happen to do that, it would be an odd thing to do, really. Comparing it to the recent Modern Warfare games, there was a lot of backlash for what they did with the story mode. I'm not saying Insomniac is anything like Activision in that regard, but if they do plan on releasing Spider-Man 3 into 2 parts, they really need to go about it differently, and also make sure that it's worth everyone's money. This could obviously be a document that was just used when talking about ideas and probably never intended to see the light of day in general. I just thought I'd mention that because that's something I saw in the leaks. Before I end the video, I do have to reiterate that the gameplay leaks aren't devastating. We all know what to expect from Insomniac, and they can make great quality video games. Now, what really is devastating and what makes me angry is going after the privacy of the workers and employees for Insomniac. It just really sucks there are people out there that want to do this to other people. I feel like the gameplay leaks would have been enough ground for them to blackmail with the ransomware. Not saying that it's a good thing, but they didn't have to go after the privacy. I think they're a little silly for even entertaining the idea that Insomniac or Sony would have paid them for what they had access to. I wasn't surprised. I expected this leak to happen if they actually had what they said they did. And like I said earlier, hopefully they're able to find a solution soon and get this entire mess sorted out. This isn't about them making games anymore. It's about protecting the people that work for them and make sure they're safe in doing so as well. But that will be it for this video regarding some of the leaks and information from Insomniac. What are some of your guys' thoughts on them? Do the leaks get you even more hyped for what's to come in the future? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to the channel for more. Also, hit that like button to show your support. It would be greatly appreciated. And before you go, click here to watch my video where I discuss my thoughts on the GTA 6 trailer, and click here where I discuss my opinion on Starfield 3 months later. I hope everyone has a great day, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.